3 days ago, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom stood in Downing Street and he proudly announced a ban on social media for every child under 16. Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, not that they're on Facebook, X. This is a line in the sand, he said. In the same parliament right now, a different bill is moving. It would lower the voting age to 16. So a 16-year-old can choose a prime minister and a 15-year-old cannot choose a feed. Just sit with that for a second. Let me tell you why it matters to you. And you're very well likely over 16. Commentators have proudly pointed at the coincidence. One policy wins over the younger electorate, the other calms anxious parents, more than 90% of whom backed the ban. Starmer's own framing points at something else. He has said plainly that social media is making children unhappy. Whatever the politics sitting underneath this and the timing, the surface diagnosis is hard to argue with. Something about these apps takes more than it gives. And this is what the builders already knew. In 2010, Steve Jobs was interviewed by a New York Times reporter, and he asked Steve Jobs, if your children love the new iPad, Steve Jobs said they had never touched it. We limit how much technology our kids use at home, he told him. So the man that put a screen in 1 billion pockets kept one out of his own kitchen. He knew exactly what he built. Every notification works the same way as a slot machine. Psychologists call it a variable reward. You do not know what you will get when you refresh. And that uncertainty is the hook, not the content underneath it. This is why willpower alone rarely wins the argument. You are not short on discipline. You are up against a decision to create a design built by very clever people whose entire job it is to keep you there, keep you addicted. I learned this properly on a Hayabusa, not in a boardroom. There's a stretch of road behind my house in rural Croatia, where the signal just disappears completely. No bars, no notifications, just the smell of the countryside and a 24-year-old engine doing exactly what it was built to do. 10 minutes in, every single time, the static in my head goes quiet. That's the closest thing I have found to the clarity these apps now promise to sell back to you. That road is by accident. What Britain is now writing into law for an entire generation, a place the device cannot reach. So something else finally gets a turn. What you can actually do about it. You do not need a hillside in Croatia for this. You do not need an act of parliament for it either. There is a small version of the same experiment, and it's backed by real research. The University of Dakota, North Dakota, had volunteers switch their phones to grayscale for a week. And I've done this. Total screen time dropped by close to 38 minutes a day. Strip out the color and the same feed gets much easier to put down. It's far less addictive. 3 things in order of effort. 1, turn your phone to grayscale for 48 hours and watch what changes. 2, swap 1 block of scrolling for 1 piece of curated signal chosen by someone who's already filtered the noise for you. 3, tell your team in writing what urgent actually means in your business so a notification never gets mistaken for an emergency again. Britain has decided an entire generation deserves protection from a design built to exploit them and keep them addicted. Adults were never offered the same protection. And that is good news. It means you're not waiting on Parliament, an app update, or anybody's permission. The grayscale switch, as my daughter has tried already, is sitting in your settings right now. So is the better thing underneath it. A decision made by you about what gets to interrupt your life and what does not. That decision takes about as long as turning a screen from color to gray and noticing properly what was in front of you the whole time. That is this week's future-proofed leader. The full essay and the free tools are linked below. I'd love to have you along next week. Thanks for listening.